keep on blaming people, society, cultures for not giving us the opportunity to move. But I think we have the control. We are the master of our destiny.
In a city like Dubai, where achievements are worn as a badge of honor, how do you reframe someone's mindset to slow down?
I just try to tell people to live in the moment. Life is too short, things are changing drastically. The only thing that we have control is.
Hi, I am Melon and co-founder here at the Melon Studio and founder of Olivia Pearls. We have been telling stories since 2009, but this time we don't just want to tell stories, we want to amplify them. Welcome to the Louder Podcast. What happens after a major life shift? When your title changes, when your kids leave home, or you ponder quietly to yourself, who am I now? Hajra Jaffer is a certified life coach, mindfulness facilitator, and founder of Coaching with Hajra. With 20 plus years of cross industry experience from banking to renewable energy, she's helped hundreds navigate the life transformations with confidence and grace. Her tools: NLP, meditation, cultural intelligence, and deep empathy. This isn't just about coaching. This is about reclaiming your identity, letting go, and finding clarity again. This is Hajra's story. So, Hajra, your story spans across different industries, from banking, healthcare, to real estate, and then energy. What thread tied all these industries together for you?
I think initially I was very all over the place, but when I think about it now, I think it was all with a purpose, which was about educating and empowering. It initially started with me starting with a banking career, then moving into education because the kids were younger, and then moving into real estate where I was educating other people and doing things like that. And in 2020, I did my life coaching certification just to understand what my thinking processes were. And I just felt that helped me so much to navigate so many things. And a couple of things happened in my personal life that actually led me to make this as a full time career. And now when I look back at 20 years of doing different kind of things, I just feel they were all related to educating people. But now I can proudly say it's not only educating, but it is also empowering them, where we are giving them the opportunity. We are trying to open their minds. We are trying to give them different perspectives of life where they can get empowered and make the right decision that works for them.
You mentioned a while back that there was a moment, you touched on something, that there was a moment when you start to feel that you stop fitting in, and you had to ask yourself, who am I now? What can you tell us about that
Yes,
moment?
so this was back in 2020. Prior to that, I had been into teaching for about 8.5 years in Dubai, which was again a pivoting career because the kids were young. I did my MBA back in 2003 and I was working in a financial institute. But with kids moving to school, I also moved my career and I started teaching. And then in 2020, when we decided that we are going to send the kids to boarding, um, COVID has already happened. Canada was extremely strict about the restrictions. So I had to take that decision of not going back to work full time because in Middle East and UAE everything was open. We had that choice. Yes, there was a lot of flexibility, but then I had to be available for my kids because they were not allowed to come and leave Canada. And at that point in time, it was challenging because knowing that I have a lot of stuff, but I cannot go back full time job. And also, I had to think of a portable career for myself. Um, and at that point in time, I just did life coaching to help me understand what are my thinking processes, what are the areas that I would like to work, and kind of really had the time to understand what my purpose is. Prior to that, I just was doing things what people were telling me, what I felt right, but I had never thought about what was the real purpose. And when I started looking into it, I just thought, this is something I absolutely enjoy helping people change their mindsets, give them different perspective. I've been very fortunate that I've spent my life in three different continents with a lot of different nationalities and cultures, which gave me more understanding and in depth knowledge about how things work, so that I can use that knowledge to incorporate in opening people's mind.
You shifted from from working in these industries to now. What did that identity shift look like to you personally? How did you made those quick adjustments to your life?
I think at that point in time when things were happening, I wasn't very happy. I was very upset sometimes, that I had to leave my careers and I had to, change things to help and support other people's in the family. But now when I think about them, I think they were the right decisions because they have taught me so much. The first thing that I've learned is the adaptability, no matter what, and to let go, not to have control over things. You work hard, you have a vision, but be flexible, because I think that gave me the opportunity to try so many new things that I would have never done that otherwise. So I think flexibility, adaptability has been the key things. And as the saying goes, the only constant is change. And we all have to be ready for that change. You don't know what's coming, but if we change our perspectives and try to be more positive and open to the change, I think then you find your way.
You mentioned about your children going to Canada for their education, and this is actually one of your core speaking topics,
Right.
having an empty nest. Talk us more about that.
See, for empty nesting, if when we talk about empty nesting, it's more about when your kids leave for college. And how does your house feel after so many years of being, having a busy life? For me, I think it happened at a very early age, because my kids left home at the age when they were 12 and 13, and I had just turned 40. So it was very, very new for me. And the kids were very young. They went for boarding. Normally, it's more for when people go for university, which gave me the ability because I have more time to think and what I want to do. But what it changed for me all of a sudden when I remember when I dropped them and I came back, meeting my old friends who had the kids, my kids' friends, their parents. When I used to go to those, kind of places where they would become, it was a big shock. Like, apart from what is happening at home, not having your kids in their own bedrooms and not having the routine and everything, because that's a big thing in your house that is changing. The grocery list has changed, and the timetables have changed. All of a sudden, you don't have to get up early and run to drop somebody, or you don't have to go back and pick up somebody's lunchbox and things like that. But I think what was more difficult was losing the other networks. As I always say, dropping the kids in the morning, you're running. At that point in time, it looks very difficult, and you have to run back to your work. But it also gave us a lot of opportunities to network in a lot of different ways. So now, with the kids were gone, I'm not dropping them, so I've lost that network because I'm not in mom's WhatsApp groups anymore. I am not dropping by to school and having a quick coffee or catching up with another mom. I'm not there on parent teacher meetings or a sports day. So I think it also took that part of relationships as well. I think people who have a regular empty nesting when the kids are going to university is slightly different because they still have a lot of people who are in the nest. They can still speak to them. But for me, I think because both the kids left at the same time, and I did not have that support system, that nobody else in my circle was going through empty nesting at the same time. So I think that had a different kind of impact.
I cannot imagine how or what you've gone through. I know it hits harder for
Yeah.
you. Talk about this transition phase of you were in a group, mom's group. How long did it how long did it take you to transition from this mindset to this mindset?
It did take some time. I'm normally a very positive person. I'm a very bubbly and friendly person. I like to talk to people. But I think at some point in time, I started very conscious steps where I started to make sure where, who, and when I want to meet. And I would say my friends have been the greatest support. They also kind of picked it, because I remember when first time I came back from Toronto after dropping the kids, and one of my friends had invited us for the dinner. And that is where it hit me, when I could see all my kids' friends walking around, coming and hugging their mothers and hugging me and asking me, how's Musa and Mariam doing? And that is when I realized, like, they are not sitting there, they are not there. And the conversations in the room, those also changed. Everybody would ask me how my kids were doing, but as the time passed, it was more about their school, what is happening. And obviously the school systems are different, the kids don't have the same social circle now, so those discussions also started to wither. They became different. And then I think slowly and gradually, I also learned, and my friends also learned. So we started meeting more in the mornings without the kids, more topics where we were talking about our businesses, our well-being, our parents, than about kids. And I think it was a conscious step from my side, because there were times, I just felt that if I'm going to stay in this room longer, I might start crying or something. So I was just like, okay, it's time to leave, kind of thing. So you just learn it on that moment, because you just don't know how you will react, what will trigger. It's a happy phase. It's interesting stories there. I share the achievements of my kids, but all of a sudden when you feel, oh, they are not here, I cannot go hug them. And because of the timing difference, it's not that I can pick up my call and say, I just feel like talking to you. So it's interesting. But when you see at the end of the day, when you see how the kids have progressed and how it has made me and the kids emotionally stronger, that we are not dependent on each other to make those kind of simple decisions in life, um, it actually makes me very proud. And I think it was a difficult decision to send them at an early age, but I think it was the right decision.
I love that. I love that. Now let's talk about how the leap that you made, because you have been into 5 different industries,
Yeah.
and you transitioned to a full-time like your own life coaching practice here in Dubai. What made you take the leap instead of I'm just curious, what made you take the leap of, instead of going back to being part of that industry, being employed,
Yeah.
but made you
Okay.
go have your own practice?
I think for me, life coaching was not only a business, it was a passion. And I started as a passion while I was running my own Airbnb business. And I think a couple of incident, personal life transitions that I had to go through uh, had a very profound impact on me. And apart from my faith in my religion, life coaching was something that really, really helped me to move forward. And when I started looking at myself and the changes that I was making, I don't think I would have been a positive person if I was not a life coach or if I was not following NLP techniques. And that is where I just thought that I need to do this as a full time, because there's so many people who need this kind of help. People are not aware what life coaching can do for them. They are still confusing it with counseling or therapy or consultancy. It's a very forward thinking approach that we follow in life coaching with all the tools. And I think that was the reason where I just said, okay, I as long as I'm able to have a decent financial structure from my other work, I need to make this as a full time profession, because I myself has experienced and I've seen my clients. I have spoken to my life coaches how things have changed. And at the end of the day, if you're able to make the slightest change in somebody's life, you're able to impact their lives in a way that they can improve their way of thinking and their lives even 1%. I think the job is done. And the kind of satisfaction that I get from that, I don't think so. I have got it from other professions.
Was there fear in stepping in this new version of
And
yourself?
there is, I think initially I did not realize. how this will impact. But obviously, it sounds easy like any other business. This is actually an easy business. There are no entry of barriers. So you can easily get into life coaching. However, there are challenges because people just don't understand what it means. So a lot of time, I am still like 5 years into practice, I'm still spending a lot of time educating people to tell them what life coaching is, the myths about life coaching. And plus also, the other challenge was, typically when you have these kind of practices, counseling, therapy, consultancy, people tell you what to do. As coaches, we don't tell you what to do. We just try to empower you, educate you with powerful questioning. So obviously, there is a fear that a lot of people think, why are we paying you if you're not telling us what to do? So finding the right person to coach is the challenge. And you cannot coach, especially coaching, you cannot do to someone who's not ready. The coachee needs to be ready. So we can't say if the parent thinks, oh, their child needs a coach. We can't coach that child unless that the child is ready. So you can't force it because it has to come from them. So I think when you talk about fear, the fear was more of how to find these people who are willing to change, firstly. Secondly, who are happy to explore and question their limiting beliefs because it can get very uncomfortable. And third, to pay for it. Because people just don't understand. So there's a whole psychology behind it. So there is, the awareness is getting there. People are understanding. So I think the fear part was where to get the clients.
What made you overcome that fear?
I think joining networking groups, educating people. I think I still spend more than 80% of my time educating people. I am open for discussions. I do a lot of free workshops. I do a lot of free consultations with people to make them understand. Because I know once they're able to understand, they will come for coaching. So I think being part of different networking groups, having the opportunities to go and speak, also upgrading my skills. Life coaching is a general certification, but how do I niche it out? So I'm now done my certification as a mental health first aider from KHTA. So that gives me an additional certification, which helps and gives people confidence that yes, she has another certification and she can help. So I think finding the right clients are now going to be easy because obviously, because of all these things that I'm trying to do. Grief counseling is another thing that I've just started doing because as a mental health, I do realize how important it is. The other thing that I'm understanding is that I want to pitch it to the organizations, especially to middle and entry level employees, because for the executives we have executive coaching, we have resources, they have financial resources, they have the networks. But what about the entry and mid level employees?
Exactly. Yeah.
They are the ones who cannot afford it. They don't have resources, but they might be having a lot of challenges at home. They might have a child who is a special needs. They might have lost a family member. They might be going through a divorce or separation. So I think doing additional certifications and understanding what niche you want to work with has kind of helped me align how to get more clients.
It's interesting. You mentioned about this mental health first aiders. It's not just first aid for the physical body.
Yes.
First aid is something that when you're physically injured or you're in physical danger, and then you have to tell us more about this first aid.
Yeah, it's a very interesting certification that KHDA, which is the Knowledge and Human Development in UAE, specifically in Dubai. So just like first aider in physical health, that is exactly what it means in mental health. So what we do is we are trained on different topics like stress, trauma, anxiety. Try to understand the dynamics and try to teach people, whether it is individuals, whether it is for their teams, whether it is for organizations, how to look for signs and symptoms in people around you before it actually becomes a problem. So basically, what we try to focus on is simple things about your coworkers or your family members that you are seeing. Now, when I talk about mental health, it's like a pyramid. Um, those who have visited pyramid and those who have seen the pictures, you can see that you just have to climb one step. So mental health is also like a pyramid. You don't climb up on the top and somebody commits a suicide or somebody kills somebody else or somebody is doing an aggressive step. So they did not reach on the top for that decision in one day. It was probably happening for years and years and years, and they were not aware of. And the people around them were not aware of that. So, just like that, mental health works in that way, that there are things that are building up, and eventually leading to very serious consequences. So, we are trying to educate people at workplace how to look for those signs and symptoms in your coworkers. Simple things like, why all of a sudden one person in your team has become very irritable. Why are they not talking? They might not be sleeping well. Is there enough support for them? And that is why, the first thing that I was talking about, offering that as part of employee benefits to your employees, to have free coaching sessions so that people can go and speak to somebody outside the organization, where they do not have this fear of losing a job or being labeled as, weak. um, because there is this hesitation. If I tell or I expose my weaknesses to my employer, they might, don't want to have me. So in mental health, that is, we are trying to cater as well to have that support given to the organizations, how they can implement these techniques in their workplace to make sure each and every person is taken care for. So that is what it is. Just educating people that to look for the signs. And what is most important is just when you reach the pyramid, on the top of the pyramid, what will happen? You have a couple of options. You'll either jump, so you give up that particular activity or routine, or in extreme cases, it could, be a suicide. Or you can decide to stay there, which is that you are staying there, you're not doing anything, and it's just going to get worse. And the third step is a very conscious step when you decide to come down the pyramid. And you just cannot come down in one day. So, this is what we try to educate people, that mental health cannot improve in one day. And it is not a constant linear thing, it is a spectrum. During a day, you could be actually on different phases of the mental health. In the morning, you might be very happy and you are in the green zone. Something happens, you become an amber, and then something happens, you might reach to red. So, what we are trying to teach our attendees is how they can themselves make sure that if they are in that red zone, how can they bring them back to amber and to green, and how consciously they can climb, come down the pyramid. So it's a long process. It's not one day thing. So it's just the constant conversations about fixing this.
You mentor women on self discovery and major shifts and coach them during major shifts in life. Question: why is it because are women more in touch with emotions, or are because women are more open to self discovery, or they're more open to this coaching?
I think the reason I like to coach women more, I coach everyone, but the reason I have a comfort level with women, being a woman myself from a South Asian background and living in different places in the world, I have known that we women also keep so much to ourselves. With nuclear families now, and it is becoming difficult for women also to share the things that they used to share before. There's a constant competition going on within the societies in the world of Instagram and social media. I find women are putting extra challenge on themselves apart from the regular duties that they have. And they are very, very capable. And they know, I think, extra help and having somebody to speak to kind of understand themselves more, um, they can just perform much better, because at the end of the day, we women do not realize we end up giving so much from our teapot, we never have enough time to refill it. And those people who take a conscious step to kind of refill, you can't pour from an empty teapot. And I think that is what happens in midlife in women, why they become in their 40s and 50s more irritable in a lot of ways. And they're not as accommodating as they were, or they're not as willing to give up things as they were, is because they have reached to that point where they have understood there's nothing else to give. So, women who are taking conscious step to kind of help themselves, to kind of fill those teapots with something positive, which could be positive friendships, which could be positive businesses, experiences. Um, so that's what I enjoy, that speaking to these women and the challenges that they go through, and how they can just kind of still uplift themselves.
Amazing. In a city like Dubai, where achievements are worn as a badge of honor, how do you reframe someone's mindset to slow down and tune in? How do you encourage that?
I think the most important thing for me personally, after coaching for past 5 years, I just try to tell people to live in the moment. Life is too short. Things are changing drastically, um, and the only thing that we have control is today and now. Stop worrying less. Stop thinking about the past. There's no failure, only feedback. Whatever has happened has happened. And in city like Dubai, I think constant reminder of gratitude. It's very easy to get into the cycle of what other people have and what you don't have. Start comparing yourself, and that will just make you, dissatisfied, or make you sad, or make you angry or upset. So there are more of negative feelings, unless you are that positive that you take those things as a stepping stone to progress, and you take these things as a positive, like XYZ is doing this, I want to do this because I also want to excel. It's not because of the comparison and diminishing yourself. And I think that is where we have to kind of understand what is important to us. At the end of the day, what is my purpose? What do I really enjoy and why I'm doing things? I think asking that question individually ourselves can help us avoid that, vicious cycle of
Compare.
being busy and being there and being, out there.
Do you find yourself in that cycle sometimes?
See, for me, things have changed because my responsibilities are very different. I'm a single parent. My kids are in abroad. My family is back home. So for me, I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. Whenever I feel overwhelmed, I do come back to very simple space for myself, a grounding activity that I do, why I'm doing it. Like if I have too many clients, if I'm not able to fulfill their demands, if I'm not able to enjoy my own coaching and it is becoming a stress for me, do I still need to do? How much money do I need to survive? I think this is what really, really helps me, because at the end of the day, why are we doing what we are doing? There are normally two, three things. One is to be happy, to be content. Just find different ways to be happy and content. I don't have to be happy driving a Lamborghini because I know once I have it, I'll probably look for something else. So I think coming back to the basics has really helped me. And practicing gratitude really, really helps me. So whenever I'm in this circle where I just feel I'm not kind of good enough, I'm not doing enough, who am I trying to please? Those kind of simple questions really help me to come to ground. So I don't let that affect me as much.
As we land the plane, I have a few more questions for you. If this podcast was the only record left of your voice, what would you want your children or your clients to take away from it?
I would say something that I'll always talk about is the invisible cage that we build for ourselves. We love to be victims. I would just like to tell each and every human being that don't make self, don't make yourself a victim. You're not a victim. Don't have this invisible cage around you that you cannot do things. Be open to it, accept who you are, and then move forward to what you really want to do. So stay in positive, be more grateful, and enjoy the life.
If this chapter of your life right now is a movie, what would it? What would the title be?
I would say invisible cage.
Invisible Cage.
Because I just personally feel that we build so many cages for ourselves and we keep on blaming people, society, cultures for not giving us the opportunity to move. But I think we have the control. We are the master of our destiny. We have to be responsible. If something goes wrong, it's fine. It's a mistake. Accept it. And I just feel that we are in control, and we are the only people who can make change for ourselves. Stop expecting other people's to change. Change yourself, because the only person you can change is yourself.
Amazing. So you have broken out of this invisible cage.
I have broken a lot of invisible cages, I believe, but it's also interesting because this is something that I've been working on and hopefully will be able to write the book on. I also feel sometimes it's also good to have an invisible cage. When you think about a bird who is hurt due to, say, metaphorically, something happened and she got injured, it makes sense for her to go and sit in the cage to regain her power, to regain her feathers back, to get strong, and then come out stronger from the cage. So, having that invisible cage is also a powerful element, but when to use it, I think that is important. Some people like to be in those cages, not exploring what the world has to offer, and become a victim and start complaining about it. But if you're consciously choosing to go in the cage to get more strong and healthier, to come out and face the world and the new challenges. So I think, again, coming back to the fact that you have the control, how you are using the situation to your advantage. You are the person who can make that decision.
And as a final question, for you, what does it mean to live louder?
I think for me, living louder is just to have expectations for myself and from myself. Because I think the moment you start expecting it from other people, that is where the disappointment happens. So living louder for me is just to have my own expectations and work hard and try to achieve them. At the same time, not taking advantage of the environment or people. That does not mean that I'm going to disrespect or be ungrateful to other people who are in my life. It's just that living on my own terms without destroying anything.
Thank you so much, Hajra. I love your story of the transitions that you've gone through and how you're helping others. I hope that this podcast episode has helped you and has helped Hadra's loud story has impacted you and realize that sometimes invisible cages can help us, but sometimes it's something that we must break through. Hajra, tell us where we can find you.
You can find me on my website, which is the coachingwithhajra.com. And you can also follow me on my Instagram, which is again coachingwithhajra.com. Sorry, Coaching with Hajra.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.